Good evening. I'll now call the City of Cannon Falls City Council meeting for Tuesday, August the 16th to order. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Berg.
Here.
Gallops.
Here.
Holst.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Mattson.
Here.
Schoblum.
Here.
And Mayor Robinson.
Here. All please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to a rainy night outside for a good time to be inside for the meeting. At this time, the chair will take a motion to approve the amended agenda as submitted.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion by Merle, second by Rod. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Moves us on to item 5 this evening, public input. Citizens may speak to issues not on the agenda. Before speaking, please give your name and address for the minutes, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Hey, Rosie.
Hey, Rosie Schluter, Stanton Township. Well, I've been here before, and we finally accomplished it. We're going to have the dedication ceremony for the addition of upper body exercise equipment along the city trail this Friday at 10 o'clock. Flagship Recreation is bringing down refreshments. They're bringing down the ribbon and the whole schmear. I haven't been able to do that before, so you're probably familiar with it. Robbie is going to speak for 2 minutes, right, Robbie?
1.
Okay, I'm kidding. If any of the rest of you can come, we'd sure appreciate it. The sponsors it was just so great, and the way Tom has got the equipment set up along the trail, and we're seeing people using it, and they're having a good time, and it's just, I'm so pleased, but please don't ever let me get an idea for another project, okay? Promise me, don't let me do it.
Rosie, I mean, you put a lot of hard work into this, and it's good to see it all, finally all coming to fruition. So you've been waiting to do this for a while.
No, it's at the old,
At Water Street?
Yeah.
Second.
okay.
At the Gorman kiosk.
Water.
I think there's one there.
Yeah.
Hi, Rosie.
Yeah, I'd like to see you there, but
So you gotta do a 20-minute exercise on that?
Maybe. Okay. Anybody else wishing to address the council under public input?
Well, I think my name's Babe O'Gorman. There's kind of a disturbing trend going on, and I'm kind of concerned about. I've been to 2 planning commission meetings and sat, and there's been no quorum. There's apparently 2 vacancies that haven't been filled.
And they will be filled. They'll be filled by the next meeting.
Yeah, I understand all that, and it's not hard for me to figure out how they got filled, but it isn't my job to fill them. It's yours.
Understand that. And I've asked for people to come forward.
Well, I haven't ever heard of it being done, and it's now, the middle of August, and I think this is supposed to be done around the 1st of the year, isn't it?
Well, you can ask. If people don't want to show up, babe, what do you do?
Well, it was pretty simple for me. I went home after finding out that they'd been vacant all year, and I got up the next day and went to work. And in the course of my duties at work, I made 2 phone calls to 2 friends and told them that our community could use a little help. Would you consider doing this? 2 for 2. Okay? It's not that tough, but you do have to make an effort.
Yep, and I have.
Well, it isn't much of an effort in my opinion, sir.
Okay, you're welcome, sir.
Now, we got other problems going on, and that I view as a problem, and it's citizen participation. And from what I understand, we've got a whole bunch of people going to sign up to for the next election, which is great, isn't it?
That's good.
But the police commission is all but defunct, from what I understand. Maybe you can help me out there. I don't know. I haven't been to a police commission meeting in 20 years, but,
It's not defunct.
well, when's the last time they met?
We met, what, a month ago?
Probably about 6 weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah. And so how often does it meet?
as needed.
And so do you have, is it fully staffed with citizens?
Police commission?
Yeah, totally. There's no vacancies. Good. So when's their next meeting?
I don't know, probably gonna be October. We've got
Okay, so
a-
you don't have a monthly.
No, we haven't had them monthly for quite a while. They were monthly when I first came, because we were going through, what was it, avian flu pandemic planning or something. Once we got through with that, we really didn't have a reason to meet monthly. So they moved to every other month, and then we moved to as needed. We typically meet at least twice a year, if not quarterly. Just kind of depends what's going on. We have them when there's hiring to be done. That's a function of the police commission.
Well,
Also
I was,
review ordinances.
excuse me.
I apologize,
Yeah.
I was finishing. The other thing that happens is they review ordinances that are being prepared.
Well, I was on the council for, I think, more than 13 years, and they had them every month.
Well, things have changed, babe, and thanks for, your concern. When you move back in the city, then
Believe me.
We're about it at that
Things
time.
have changed. The other concern I have is about the park board. Is there a park board anymore?
nope.
There's no response, or, no? It was a
not one.
hard question.
Nope.
That was taken under the umbrella of Public Works Commission. We had the same problem filling with members, getting everybody to make it, getting quorums. So it was disbanded maybe 2 years ago.
Well, if you need some help finding some people, you let me know how many you need, and I'll bring them in here. Now, back to the planning commission, because it didn't meet for 2 months, and there is one fellow, I'm not in a big urgent rush here. I just got a couple tracts of land here that I'm gonna have rezoned, and it's not a big deal to me, but there's a couple businessmen that are in here. One that is trying to rejuvenate Grandpa's garage.
And it's going to be taken care of.
Yeah, well, when? Because 2 months have gone by, we've got to wait 1 more month. And you've all but cut the life out of them out south there with that overpass. You do understand?
That was planned a long time before I ever became mayor, babe, so
What's that?
that overpass.
That was planned before you became mayor?
Yeah. You
Yeah,
were on
that-
you were on the council at that time.
I don't believe so, sir.
I was on the council and I was mayor during the whole process that started back in 2003. And it was always on the south end. They talked about 2 different locations, the current, actually 3 locations. The 24 and the current location where it's at, and then also where the exit, the old exit and stoplights were by Grandpa's garage. Were the 3 that were always in the study. There was 3 different studies that were done through MnDOT and the state, which cost the citizens, not necessarily the city, but the citizens of Minnesota a great deal of money, because every time they revisited the project, they had to restart with all the plans, but the plans never changed. So there's a very short recap, but it was always the primary spot, and long before Mayo purchased our hospital. So,
Well, at any rate, the planning commission has not met, so my point is, are we going to get these appointments taken care of tonight so that we can proceed with a planning commission meeting and help the poor fellows out?
We are going to take care of it, babe.
Good. Thanks for your time.
also, just as a comment and a follow-up in regards to the police commission, that also has been off and on, done as needed.
Yep.
Back in 2005, 2006, we went that route with that because there wasn't always a necessary reason to meet. So it isn't unheard of, I guess.
I mean, you don't have to have meetings, you just have meetings, unless you've got something that really needs to be looked at. Anybody else wishing to address the council under public input?
I'm Mark Locke, which I live at 648 Union Court. And I don't know if you all have a diagram of the layout of Union Court. If you don't, I have extras here. The issue that we have is it's a little narrower street than a normal city street, and we're having some parking issues. The main issue is people don't care, and there's no consequence for what they do. I got together with the board. I'm the president of Westwood too, and I suggested parking on one side of the street. And most of the residents did not agree with that. So I says, okay, my next game plan was, why don't we have no parking after 10 p.m.? They can't park on the street after 10 p.m. And that should take care of what they've been doing. The second issue I have is they don't care where they park. And I'd like a citation issued if they ever park over the curb. When they do park, they can get a ticket. I came home one day and I saw a car parked up around the 602 address on the inside. His right wheels were so far off out of the grass, they were on the sidewalk. I mean, they're talking 6-7 feet, completely off the street. And I think this should be a violation. And the third issue I wanted to bring up was they can't park on the empty lots. They either park in their driveway or in their garage after 10 o'clock. I don't have board approval on this. I'd like to know how you people that are dealing with these kinds of issues might see a solution to getting these people to cooperate. Does anybody see anything wrong with a 10 p.m. parking issue, and they can't park over the curb? And the third issue is they can't park in empty lots.
Well, the empty lots are private property, correct? So,
Well, yes, but Lindell owns them, and he's given a couple of parties permission to park there on a holiday occasion.
is that, is it, yeah, it's an association, that street is belongs to the association, correct?
It belongs to the city now.
Yep.
Oh, it does belong to the city now?
Yep.
Okay.
Is that one of the narrower streets, Jeff, that we,
Up
Yep.
until about a week ago, I was unaware that we had gotten the street. I knew that the city had taken over the lift station. I was unaware the city had taken over the street.
Yeah, I wasn't.
I don't know what the width on that street is. I would suspect it probably is slightly narrower than our normal streets. I think it's wider than the Primrose, which is also was a private street, still is. But I don't know the exact dimensions on this. Maybe Tom would know.
27 feet. So it is narrower than ours.
I mean,
Well-
could we look at making it, since it is a city street, parking on only one side?
Certainly, you know, the Public Works Commission would probably be the starting point for any of those discussions. And then, you know, signage, however you wanted to do it. You could do it, you know, inside, outside, north, south, whatever, you know,
Yep.
you determine to be the best. You could restrict it to hours. You know, it's just appropriate signage is going to be needed for any enforcement.
Yep.
Again, I wasn't aware of the vehicle parking up on the sidewalk or almost onto the sidewalk. Certainly, that would be something that had we received a complaint on, we would have, you know, issued a citation for, because that'd be more than 12 inches from the curb. But in those situations, probably the best thing to do would be to just call and report it so the officers can go up and, you know.
I'd like to inform the residents of Westwood that there are rules and you can't park over the curb. And if the,
I think the message to inform them would be is that the same rules now apply that would apply to any other city street.
12-inch,
Yep.
you can park on the grass?
Union Court had been a private street when I arrived in 2000 and what, end of 2007. So they're probably used to just being able to park however the association allowed them to do previously, as we didn't do any enforcement on it because it was a private street.
Okay.
So
Now that's-
there'd be a little education to it, but yes, the message would be is that they needed to treat it just like any other city street would be treated.
The issues that I got back from the owners was, there's a greater footage on the perimeter than the inside, but the negative side is there's 3 residents on the inside. And potentially, there could be 17 driveways on the outside. And that's gonna reduce the parking. That's why I thought, why go back and forth on inside, outside? Why not just say no parking after 10 p.m.?
Right. Again, that would be something that I'm sure the Public Works Commission would look at. You know, we already regulate distance within driveways, within mailboxes, that type of thing within our city code, our city ordinance. So I'm sure that the Public Works Commission would be looking at the structure of driveways and mailboxes and that type of stuff and trying to figure out the best way to structure any parking restrictions.
How far can you park on either side of a hydrant?
I believe it's 10 feet.
Okay,
Mailboxes are also 10 feet.
all right, thank you.
When you guys look at putting that on the next Public Works, and then get a hold of Mark and so he can attend it and bring up the issues. And then that way we can get that looked at for you so that we can make sure that everything's working as it should be.
We've had situations last winter, if an emergency vehicle came through there on that south end, they couldn't make it. Fire truck or something big.
Okay.
Very good.
All right.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you. Yeah, no, thanks for coming in and letting us know that so that we can take a look at trying to get that fixed for you. All right, moves us on to item 6 this evening, the consent agenda. Items on this area of the agenda may be adopted or they may be removed and placed on the business area of the agenda for discussion purposes before approving. Item A is the just and correct claims for the accounting period ending August the 12th, 2016. Item B are the meeting minutes for the August 3rd, 2016 City Council meeting. Item C is to hire an unscheduled part-time ambulance employee. Item D is hire an unscheduled part-time ambulance employee. And item E is approved special assessment agreement. Are there any items anybody wishes to remove and move into council business? If not, the chair will take a motion to approve the consent agenda as submitted.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Merle, second by Lynn. Any other discussion? All's in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Moves us on to item 7, council business. And one thing under there this evening is the request withholding of sales tax or sale of tax forfeited parcel. And I'll turn it over to Mr. Johnson.
Okay, thank you. Introduction of this is a piece of property that's tax forfeited, and the county has the option of putting it up for public sale, or has a requirement to put it up for public sale unless the local government wants to actually acquire it, or at least tell them to put a stop on the sale, potential auction. So this piece it's actually part of the outlot. It's outlot A of the original sandstone subdivision. And that's kind of the big picture of it, showing location. Here's a little closer up with coming off of 25 here. This is where the barricades are off of 25 that you see coming into the kind of a mess of a subdivision that was tax forfeited several years ago also. We have been working, or actually the Southeast Minnesota Multi-County HRA has been working on looking at the possibility of doing a housing development project in this area. They hired Stantec engineering firm to do a feasibility report for them for potential redevelopment. They've reviewed their report And they do think that there's potential for development in particularly the eastern portion of that subdivision, right as you come off of 25, perhaps for some multifamily. They're still exploring it, and for that reason, this parcel, it would likely be, in our opinion anyway, we discussed this at that meeting that we had with them, the staff meeting that we had with the HRA. That doesn't show up very well. And agreed as a group that it would be best if council basically put in a request to Goodhue County to put a stop on the potential auction for that, and put a hold on it. They can hold it for 6 months before doing so. I spoke with Carolyn Holmeston, the finance director, and this is what she recommended. She's also aware of the Sandstone project. She's been involved with that with us previously. So what we're looking for is one other note. There's an inaccurate statement in that there's a water main through that outlot. There's actually a sewer main and a storm sewer. There is no water main that runs directly through that, but it runs basically right through here into the subdivision, and there's a lot of it is under an easement, a utility easement. But anyway, the request then is to request that the county not put that up for auction. And Carolyn said all we'd need is a motion. The motion's in your packet.
You know, and there's no cost to the city for that, correct?
There is none.
But all the sewer and all that stuff out there is no good, right?
Well, not necessarily. There are service lines that have had issues, as far as we know. I'm not sure the last year that anybody looked at the storm sewer or the sanitary. We haven't had, Tom, maybe you want to speak?
We've had no issues with the sanitary or the water main. The service laterals, they were disconnected in 2008 because of a lot of leakage going on. We had a hydrant testing done approximately 2003 or 2012, and we found no hydrants to be leaking. So it seems like the main is in good place and good footings in the road bed, but everything that goes off the road bed is pretty sketchy.
The HRA or Semtra would, that'd be part of their thing, is that they'd need to check that out before any development, do due diligence.
They would they would pay for that part, right?
That would be the idea, yeah.
Yeah, because
Yep.
I don't want to see us spending any
No,
money.
no.
No, I mean, we know that there's some lots that are buildable, and I mean,
Right.
hopefully there are gonna be some lots that are buildable so that we can do something, because that place is an eyesore that, we need to try to get something back on the tax rolls and try to recoup some of the money the city lost when they did that project, a while back, so.
So, because of the soil issues that are up there, can they do city water and stuff, or is that gonna be?
Yeah, they would be looking at city water and sewer. That would be, they had this study done, was soils and so forth, so wasn't a very elaborate.
That's been the biggest issue up. I mean, that was the whole issue, is once they started the project, they found out that it was that certain clay, and they became unbuildable land.
Yeah.
Because they
And
moved
they're-
too much
they're-
of the topsoil around.
Yeah, and their engineer was well aware of the issues, and
Okay.
they're well aware that that's why it hasn't been developed also, so.
Any other discussion? This time, the chair will take a motion to approve the motion requesting that Goodhue County withhold the sale of the tax forfeited parcel 52.456.0090 for 6 months to allow for continued planning within the Sandstone Ridge subdivision. I have a motion by Merle. Second by Kathy. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Can I add one thing to the agenda this evening under council business?
If you want to add something, just have a motion to add whatever item is, and
Okay, well, a motion to go ahead and assign the two individuals that have applied for the planning commission.
I'll second.
Got a motion by Merle, second by Rod. And two individuals are Glenn Lundell, and the other one is, come on, work thing. Is Mike Daniels. Had both applied, and I read through their applications, and I feel they'll be a good fit.
Second.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
He already
That
got
carries.
Good.
Okay, that moves us on to reports. Tim?
Nothing new to report. The ambulance has just been extremely busy lately. Thanks to my staff for making that commitment away from time from family and friends to help serve the community.
Thanks. Tom?
Update on West Side. Project is on schedule. There's a substantial completion date of September 9th and final completion of October 7th. Today, they did the seal coating, which is part of that $51,000 grant we got from the state of Minnesota last year. That was completed this afternoon. And with the weather and all, they're right on schedule. And again, a reminder for the ribbon cutting, grand opening of the outside exercise equipment this Friday from 10 until 11 at the second water shelter.
Thanks. Dave?
Primarily for the public's information, the Planning Commission will be meeting on Monday, August 29th at 6:30. We'll continue two public hearings, one related to the residential business district zoning amendment, and the other relating to both a zoning amendment and a rezoning in the B2 Highway Commercial District. So we'll continue those on Monday night, August 29th.
Okay. Justin?
Library had another great summer reading program. Staff did a really good job of planning and executing it, and had lots of community children as well as lots of outside children who were visiting grandparents and all that stuff brought into the library. So really great lineup, and looking forward to a good lineup of fall programs.
Thanks. Chief?
A couple of things. Obviously, just looking out at the river, you can tell it's up. We're about, at this time, about 4 feet above where it was a couple of weeks ago. We did see some spike in the reservoir with the rain that we just received, but overall the trending is down. I think we're probably going to be about a week and a half before we see the river at a level that is more normal for what it had been as far as the cubic feet per second of volume and that type of stuff. The other thing I wanted to let council know is, if you recall, council has several times expressed their concerns about the intersection of Highway 20 and Highway 19 and people passing, cars that are trying to make turns, and close calls and accidents that we've had down there. I've had ongoing conversations with MnDOT. If you recall, one of the things that they did with their project about 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago, was put those bump outs, and so they've been monitoring since. One of the engineers sent me what they're planning to do, and they're planning to continue the lane striping that comes into town but stops at the bridge. They're planning to continue that all the way over to First Street, so that it would clearly mark out where the driving lane is, as opposed to what would be considered shoulder. They debated on putting a turn lane in, but because of the width on the intersection, they would have to essentially remove parking stalls. And I expressed that we really don't want to lose any parking stalls, and so they decided that they would just stripe out the lane of traffic to provide better visual guidance to motorists that they shouldn't be crossing the solid white line to pass other vehicles on the right. So no action is needed from council, it's MnDOT's highways. They just wanted to make me aware of what they're thinking there, or what their plan is gonna be now, and so I wanted to bring it to you guys so that you were familiar with it.
Do we think striping alone is gonna help?
I'm hoping will help a little bit. You know, I've asked for signage and stuff, and they are very reluctant to add additional signage because there's already a significant amount of signage because of the intersection. You know, no passing on the right would be really helpful, but they're going to try this first, and we'll see what happens after that.
I think they're spinning their wheels.
Yeah, maybe. We'll find out.
Yep.
That's all I have.
Just one item, we'll be bringing you an agenda item for the next meeting. We've been in discussion with George Eilertson with Northland Securities about potential bond refunding. He might have mentioned it when he was here at one of the last meetings. But with bond rates down historically low, we're looking at the 2011 and 2013 bond issues of maybe refunding those and issuing at a lower interest rate. So George will be here at the next meeting for that.
Earl?
Nothing.
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 I have nothing.
Nothing. Okay, the stripe, what you're talking about, we asked about that a long time ago, and they vehemently said no way and all this good stuff. It seems like the highway department just doesn't get it. And this weekend was another thing. I wasn't in town, but I've had complaints from people all over the place saying how bad it was and that, and people trying to have to turn to go, you know, to get to Highway 20 and stuff like that, I guess. Why, since they think the roundabouts were so good, why didn't they get them off there? So it would have been a straight shot through.
Actually, a lot of people got off at the roundabouts thinking
they?
they would shortcut and found themselves pretty much at a standstill about Super
Yeah.
America.
Yeah. So everybody was backed up,
Yes,
I'm sure.
it,
'Cause I know I was in Decorah, and I was hearing it down there from people, and gave them how to get home without doing things, so.
yep. This execution by MnDOT on this was not very good.
No, I mean, is there a
They
way
said
that we
they were
can?
going to have troopers at the intersections.
Yeah.
My
Well, I guess there
understanding
wasn't.
is we had a trooper at 19 and 52. We had one in town for a little while, but they were not at all the
didn't do
intersections
anything,
all the
I
time.
was told.
There was one at 20 and 61
Okay,
at the north end.
okay.
Yep, because I sat in line for about 5 minutes before I could turn.
There were
And
quite
there
a few
was
people
at
that-
least a mile of cars
Yeah.
waiting.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised, given the volume of traffic 52 carries, that they didn't make a longer detour and utilize 4 lanes, send them essentially maybe over to Owatonna and up and back into the metro,
Or maybe
through
down to nine.
through the major thoroughfares to run them through Cannon Falls and through 56 through Randolph.
was a
Just
lot of
baffles
traffic.
me, but they had to tear up,
Right.
significant amount of 52 in order to finish their project. So I mean, I understand why it was necessary for them to do closures, but
But it just seems like they
I
have a,
I
Talk to your
concur, Morris. When I
congressman,
came,
because that's all they can do.
when I came, I asked them about striping just to, to help us, and they adamantly were not going to do that.
right.
And I didn't even ask for this. This is what they came to the conclusion they were going to do. I was asking for, let's get so right lane just moves right, so they can't go straight. And they came back and said, no, we can't do that because of the width. And so this is what they came up with. All I can figure is that maybe they've had some retirements and, there's new people there that are,
Well, we can just put a police officer sitting right there with his car, and that'll help.
sometimes for a while we were doing that, and, it's just one of those intersections that is complicated and has been, I'm guessing, for many years before I got here. And I'm hoping this will make it better. We'll find out.
But it would be nice to let the state know that we're unhappy. One thing I was told today would have been nice if we could have handed people stuff, as they came through town or whatever, to make them laugh, but guess we, it was too short of a notice. Whatever.
The notice on that one could have been a little bit longer.
Yeah.
For us, we found out less than a week's notice on it.
That's it.
Anybody else? By the time we meet next time, school will be in session, so watch out for the kids returning to school when you're driving on the streets. And with that, Chair will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.